Have you ever thought about the things that went wrong in your life? Have you ever had those moments where you say, well, I wish this didn't happen. I wish this never took place. I wish there were some things that I could erase about my life, some decisions I wish I could have back. Do you ever think about that there is just something that you can't do about what has already happened, and it just keeps you up sometime wishing that things were different? Well, I want to talk to you about why there are so many people looking at this all the wrong way. And that, basically, I could also say they're wrong about wrong. And what I mean by that is you have to understand the power of what we think went wrong. And we have to understand that there is a way of translating that into an energy source for you to get things right. Now, oftentimes, I remember being in a situation as a young man, being in a situation where in my household there was a lot of domestic violence. And, I've been through a lot of things. I remember going to a home for battered women with my mom and just looking around the room and looking in the kids' faces, looking at other women's faces that were going through, the same thing. And when you think about some of these things, I remember thinking sometimes, like, why do I have to go through this? So I would look at other kids that I even knew, and just wonder why I couldn't be similar to them. Both of their parents stayed together. There wasn't these other issues. My mom and dad split, and then, she eventually got remarried, and she married into this just really horrible situation. And this would be a big part of some of the things I had to face as a young man. It impacted everything about me, right? Academically, socially, so many different things. And there's a period of time that, and I don't know if you can relate to this, where there's something you've come through and you just feel like, it could have been so much different if I didn't have to deal with this or deal with that, or if I had what this other person had, or, I didn't have to go through, this particular thing like everyone else didn't go through this particular thing. So one of the things that I've learned, though, that is so powerful is that I later on in life begin to understand that it was those moments that I thought were my lowest that actually lifted me as an individual the highest, because everything that goes up must go down. And when you realize this, you start to embrace the things that feel like are down. Really, some of the most beautiful things come out of it that lift you up. And I'll give you an example. Because of the things that I went through in life, it helped me to understand people on a deeper level. It helped me to feel people. It helps me to understand pain. It helps me to be able to relate to people. It helps me to have empathy and not just sympathy. And it allows me to reach people differently, right? Because I found some things out about human beings, about human behavior. I know what certain things feel like. And when you do, it's an education that you can't get in school. You can't get from even a psychologist or someone who studies human behavior. It's just totally different when you've been through something, right? Let me go to my whiteboard for a minute. And so when we consider this term wrong, right? And we start to understand that wrong can lead to what is right for all of us. And the reason that this is possible, right, because wrong is all relative. It matters how you look at it. So when we say things went wrong, right, we have to understand it. And don't, I want to be really clear. I know for a fact there's things that all of us would prefer to have gone different, right? I know there's some decisions that we wish we didn't make. But when you understand that there's nothing that you can go through that cannot help you to become better, because even if it was the most horrible thing, even the worst thing you could have went wrong, there's always something that you can get from it, because it's either working for you or working on you. And when you understand that, you start to get the beauty of understanding for anything to grow, for anything to bud and turn into fruit, there's going to be some strain and some pain that you have to go through to do that. But it's the people who are able to actually understand how to create this arrow, right? This arrow has to do with my focus and perception, right? What is my perception of what has happened? And when you change what you look at, right, then what you see begins to change. Another way of looking at it is you often heard when you change how you look at things, the things you look at change. So one of the things that we have to understand is a lot of people do not have the ability to find this arrow in the middle. What is it that begins to convert the wrong into something that's right? Now, you can't turn something wrong into something right, but you can have something that went wrong and it can actually be, used as something that helps you do right. So think about this for a minute. If we look at it this way and add to this, something went wrong. Because of this, I'm learning to do right. So the went wrong, right? One of the things we can see about this very clearly, right, is that this is in the past, right? Denoting the went. But when we look at do right, this is in the present and also can be used for the future, right? So think about it for a minute. When things went wrong, either caused by you or caused by someone else, this now gives you the power to understand what is required to now do something different. The power of wrong is to be able to identify what right is. You cannot have right without wrong. You can't have wrong without right. You need them both. Wrong couldn't exist unless there was a right, and right couldn't exist unless there was a wrong. This brings us to the law in physics of polarity, right? The law of polarity states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This means nothing can be all bad or all good, right? There's this plus and negative that is always here. And so whatever, again, went wrong, right? So let's say I was trying to lose weight and I fell off the wagon and I ate wrong and I gained weight. So that's a negative, went wrong. But think about this. I learned the dangers of falling off. Whatever I did to fall off, I learned that particular door that I opened of negligence, of, trying to just say I was going to just do this one time and then it's led into, a week or two of doing whatever. I started to see what not to do. This brings us to Thomas Edison, who said he made the, light bulb the wrong way 99 times, but later said, I didn't really do anything wrong. I just learned 99 ways not to do it right. And this is the mindset we have to have with everything that comes up in our life. When things go wrong in our relationships, in our business, in our career, right? We have to be able, right? Let's go back here to this original whiteboard. We have to be able to create this arrow. So if you don't find a way to find how to do right, even when you make your own mistakes, things went wrong because of you, or something went wrong because of someone else, or something went wrong because of circumstance. It was no one's fault. It just happened. But it's the ability to see, what can I do right because I understand what went wrong? And when you start with this mindset, a new door of opportunity begins to unlock. And so I want to invite you to always think deeply about the law of polarity and the fact that there's always a positive for every negative. Always remember that whatever happened, whatever went wrong, is a way to think about how to do right. There's things that happen in my life that will shape things that I do forever. And there's some things that I choose to never do because I saw the hurt it brought to others. And so even though it was hurtful, even though it was painful, even though it brought me to tears, it can shape me into having more character and being a stronger man and helping me to do better by other people because I saw what went wrong. I can now do something right. So it's all about your ability to be able to change your perspective and living in the moment and in the present to understand that right now, today, I can choose what I do. And whatever went wrong is in the past, but I today, that's why we talk about being the CEO of your life. You run the business of you, and you have to make a decision that today I can do something right because I understand what went wrong and what can go wrong. So never feel that you're in a box, and never feel that anything went wrong is the end all be all. It's just a pathway to finally getting it right. I'm Mike Lee Parker. Until next time, make sure you don't stop at the wrong, but you make sure you move forward to what's right.